Today's video is about restoring and deep cleaning the steering wheel in your car. The steering wheel in your car is probably the thing that you have the most contact with the entire time, which makes it the most dirty part of your vehicle. So because we're touching this all day long, like this leather will start to get a bit shiny. We're getting a lot of sort of like little bits of like debris and dust all over the steering wheel. I'm going to show you guys how to take care of that. It's probably one of the most satisfying things to have completely immaculately clean in your car. It makes such a huge difference. I'll show you guys how to do it now. So when it comes to cleaning a steering wheel, the first step we want to do is we really want to deep clean the grains of the leather. For that, we're going to be using the leather cleaner in our foam sprayer with our leather and textile brush. This leather and textile brush does an awesome job at getting into the bottom of the grains of the leather and giving it a real nice deep clean. And the formulation of the leather cleaner is very specifically designed to have surfactants in there that are compatible with the leather. We've got to remember the leather comes from a living organism originally, and that's why we want to treat it as safely as possible. So you wouldn't go washing your hands with an acidic degreaser, and that's why we don't want to be cleaning a steering wheel with anything but a leather specific cleaner. So once we've cleaned up the entire leather, we want to be going over all the plastics and stuff like that with our cockpit cleaner. The reason I like to choose that is because the cockpit cleaner gives it a nice new matte finish at the end. That's really important to give the overall aesthetic a very new appearance. After that, we'll be treating the leather of the steering wheel with our leather protection. Leather protection is an awesome product because it gives a little bit of UV resistance to the top of the leather, which is very important when the car's standing outside, as the top section of the steering wheel quite often gets a lot of wear and tear from the sun shining down onto it and the heat going in there, which starts to make the leather crack at the top. And especially on a steering wheel that is from this age, we want to preserve it as nicely as possible to keep that original leather so we can avoid having to have it retrimmed or anything like that. The tools that we'll be using for this restoration is the leather brush, as mentioned earlier, a detailing brush for the cockpit cleaner, and these super soft applicators for the leather protection. Let's get into it, guys. So normally we don't actually remove the steering wheel from the car for this process, but to make it easier on video, we're going to show you guys with the steering wheel on a bench. So the first step is we're going to liberally put foam onto our leather cleaning brush like this. There's our leather cleaning foam in here. So we don't want to overdose it. That's why the foam is really nice, because we don't want to saturate the leather in any sort of liquid at all, ever. We want to always be cleaning leather as dry as possible. That's the best way to go about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently hold the steering wheel down here, just so it's on a bench right now, and then lightly scrub the leather all over. It's a little bit tricky without having it mounted entirely, but we'll get through it. We don't want to be scrubbing it aggressively. We just want to nicely get into the pores of the leather, give it a very gentle sort of brush. The leather cleaner is actually doing the majority of the job here, so there's no need to scrub it like it owes you money. Just give it a very gentle scrub over. By the way, guys, so this steering wheel is actually out of my personal E30. Funnily enough, I actually still haven't gotten around to giving it a deep clean, so I thought no better opportunity to actually do it on video in front of you guys, so all the other car enthusiasts can follow this how to. And I promise you, it makes a massive difference to the end feeling of your vehicle actually. So remember to do all sides of the steering wheel with your leather cleaner. If you guys also like E30s, go check out the other video that we've made. We made it quite a while ago. You'll find a link in the description. We do like a full detail on it, cut and polish on the outside, and run you through a bit of a story of the vehicle itself actually. So we've done the leather cleaner on the entire outside of the steering wheel. We'll be using a microfiber and we'll remove any residue that's now left. This is actually the part that shocks the most people as to how much dirt is really on their steering wheel. So from just the top of the steering wheel, that's how much dirt has come off the steering wheel. Now that's filthy if you ask me. So let's do that for the entire steering wheel now, and that'll give us that deep cleaned leather look. So this is all the dirt that's come off the entire steering wheel here. So this cloth was literally brand new, but when we started, and that's what it looks like now. Isn't that crazy, guys? So let's get into the next step of the steering wheel detail. Now we'll be grabbing out our Cernex detailing brush with our cockpit cleaner to get into these small crevices down here and to clean up all plastics and vinyls on the steering wheel. So what we'll do is we'll start out by spraying into the fibers of the detailing brush, the cockpit cleaner, like this, and then give it a gentle brush on those surfaces. And when your steering wheel is as easily disassembled as this one, pop out your horn button, get into the crevices underneath, so that's going to dry off to a really nice matte finish. Repeat that same step for the back of the steering wheel. This is where it's really convenient that the steering wheel is out of the car, but with a little bit of elbow grease, you'll be able to do this inside the car as well. So that concludes all of the cleaning of the steering wheel. Now we'll be applying the leather protection with our super soft applicators. These are a really convenient little size and very flexible to get into all of the little spots on the steering wheel. So let's apply a little bit of this leather protection onto the applicator. Such, the technique is to apply the leather protection to the steering wheel, leave it on there for a couple of minutes, and then wipe it with a fresh microfiber. So just evenly spread it out across the entire steering wheel. Make sure to get all surfaces of leather nicely coated with the leather protection to ensure for maximum longevity of your steering wheel. I like to go extra thick on the top of the steering wheel, as that's what cops the most amount of sun, especially in these hot climates in Australia. So what I do is I apply a bit of an additional amount to the top here, and then I'll massage that in. You can repeat this process multiple times, especially if it's on an older leather, because the leather will just keep absorbing this protection. We usually recommend putting the leather protection on once every 6 months, but the more frequently you do it, the longer your leather will last. So currently you might think, oh, why is the leather going shiny again? But that's not the case. This is actually a matte finish leather protection. It's just whilst it's wet that it has this finish, but after a couple of minutes, once it dries off and we give it a bit of a wipe down, we'll be back to that perfectly new look of leather. So guys, a few minutes have passed. The leather has absorbed the protection. Now we'll get out another fresh microfiber and we'll wipe off any excess. So now that we've wiped off all of the excess of the leather protection, this is the final result of the steering wheel. So this is literally practically what it would have looked like when it was brand new. So all that's left to do now is install it back in the car.